so I'm here with Oliver and Jean-Luc. They're representing 3 films that got in competition at Festival in Berlin 2017. Thank you, Oliver.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jean-Luc.
Thank
Lovely
you,
to meet
Steve.
And the 3 films we have are Rewinder, Courage and Magdalena's Fire.
Exactly.
And Oliver, I believe you're going to give us a synopsis of those 3 films.
Oh no.
Try one.
Just
Try
bring
one
one.
to start off.
All right. I produced 3 films at this festival, and one of this is Magdalena's Fire. It's a simple story. I play the life. I'm also the actor of the film, and he decides what happened with the person, and he decides I don't know, falling in love or winning at lots of money or what happened. And a young girl found a file of her life, and they change her life. She's falling in love, married a rich man, and so she changed her life. So it's a little bit complicated, but interesting, short, no dialogue, short films. So, yeah.
Okay. That's all of them.
That's just one.
Just
That
one,
was
yeah.
Magdalena's
That's
act.
Magdalena, yeah.
So Ollie and I first met in 2015, and we produced Courage together, which is screening this Thursday.
Yeah.
And that's about a man at a bar trying to pick up women. He's very nervous about it. He doesn't know how to do it. He's almost anxiety disorder. You know.
That's my favourite. It's really funny.
Oh yeah, you saw that?
Yeah, I've seen them all, but that particularly is my favourite.
Okay, great.
Especially I can see the guy, the fear and terror, and I've not necessarily been there, but I can relate very much to that. But I really enjoyed that. Sorry.
It is a challenge. No, please feel free to compliment us whenever you want. Yeah, just throw it in there.
Yeah, no, it just like I say, I can. That's not. Thank God, I've never been in a situation. I can totally relate to the guy's pain.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really enjoyed that. Sorry.
So yeah, no, it's okay. So yeah, as you know, it's a film about a guy trying to pick up women in a bar, and he's trying to overcome his nervousness, but it's not working. And then he finds out something that he thinks can help him. And don't want any spoiler alerts here, but yeah, he finds something to help him in his quest to meet women, but that doesn't really work out the way he thinks. And yeah, so that's Courage. And the last of the 3 films is Rewinder, and that's based on a guy who goes back to the past after humanity's excesses have depleted the water supply, and he's going back to better times, which is actually the present. So we start the movie in the future, and then we go to the past, which is our present. And yeah, he's in search of a better life for himself, and yeah, which is pretty sad. But yeah, it's not really funny. Courage is funny.
Courage is funny.
Yeah,
I've seen
Courage is
Rewinder
funny.
as well.
You saw Rewinder,
Yeah.
Yeah, we shot that in 48 hours as part of the 48-hour film festival competition. So
Right.
yeah, and we got the theme, the line of dialogue, the prop, and then we had 48 hours to make the film. So that was pretty crazy,
Yeah.
right?
So how did you two? I mean, the 3 very different films we should point out here, but how did you two? I know you said What was the start up here? How was the connection made in the beginning?
The first meeting was 2015, and we produced together Courage. And Jean-Luc was at this time in Munich, and one week before we shoot, you come here to Berlin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was actually in 2014, the end of 2014, when I knew I was moving to Berlin from Munich, and I decided to join another timed competition, the '99 Fire Film Awards, and yeah, I didn't know anyone in Berlin, so I put an ad on Crew United, which is a German website where you can post jobs or castings.
Right.
And then yeah, he responded to one of my ads, and we talked on the phone, Berlin, Munich, and then when I came up to Munich, we talked, and then yeah, we sat down. He had all the connections in Berlin. He organized everything, and yeah, made it happen.
And how did you? What made you choose to? I don't know the right word is decamp here, but decamp to Europe rather than stay working in the US.
I just thought I'd give it a try. My mom's German, so I had a little head start, and I'm actually a French citizen, so that makes it easier to work and live in Germany. Yeah, and I just thought I'd try it for a year. I didn't have house payments or anything holding me in Los Angeles, so I said, okay, let's try it before I'm too old to make that move, before I'm too settled down. So yeah, I thought I'd try it for a year, and then 23 years later,
I'm still here.
still here. Yeah.
It's very interesting because most filmmakers, as you won't be surprised to learn, flip the other way, don't they? But it's interesting to hear that you've gone the other way.
I have, yeah. That's a question I get from a lot of Germans.
many
Why
times.
did you leave Los Angeles
Yeah.
to come to Germany
Well, something's
to be a
happening.
filmmaker?
There's something that's really positive. As you say, you've been here 23 years, so obviously it works for you.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I like it. You know, I'm different here, I guess. You know, whereas in Los Angeles, I'm one of billions. I mean, it's just as hard to make a movie, I think, in Germany as it is in America. I mean, the Germans have the subsidies, at least the government subsidies, which makes it a little easier. It's hard to get that money, obviously, but I got it once, so that's nice. I never had anyone just give me 20,000 euros to make a movie before, so that was pretty sweet that I didn't have to pay back. So.
I mean, I know you're making it sound nice and simple. I'm sure it was jumping for a lot of hoops.
It's the submission, the application process is very difficult. You need LOIs from actors, and you need to have you need to offer your own financing, you know, at least 10% of what you're asking for. So yeah, no, it was difficult, but yeah, I got it. I got Emerging Talent Fund or something at the age of 39. So, and that's usually reserved for, I'm guessing, a lot younger people, because emerging talent, you'd think I'd emerged by now already. But,
Yeah, well.
I guess I'm still emerging, and so yeah. But next would be hopefully a feature film, where I can actually get paid to make movies and pay other people to make movies. That's kind of the dream.
And in terms of you collaborating to it, so do you work just together? Do you have projects that are split away on the side that you're working on?
Yes, we have different projects. We've worked, was it just two? Courage and Rewinder?
Two, yeah.
It feels like a lot more, but yeah, I'm also shooting a documentary called Living in Limbo, which is about an American filmmaker in Germany trying to make the jump from short film to feature film while immersing himself in the international film market. And
Wow, who's that based on, I wonder?
yeah, I don't know. You know, there's a lot of people out there like that. You'd be surprised. But yeah, I do have some acting skills. So I'm not sure if I want to cast myself. I think I need to sleep with myself first and then see where that goes. Okay, now I'm sounding weird.
I don't know. I've got this vision, and I'm not sure if I want this in my head right
no,
now.
you don't. It's totally weird. But Ollie also does his own projects, as he did with Magdalena's File. In German, it's Magdalena's Act. So
Okay.
Magdalena's File, he produced that on his own. And what was your most recent one? Schlaflos. Sleepless, right?
Sleepless was this year?
Yeah, this year in January.
So Oliver, can you, if you mind, perhaps explaining, when you are collaborating with, you're working with Jean-Luc here as an example, I'm sure that there's ideas that you're going to, not sure, I'm assuming you're going to come at a project perhaps from different angles. I mean, this is how the humans work, isn't it? So how does it work in terms of you're sitting down having a brainstorming session, and you may say, look, I think the character should do this, and he may say, actually, I don't think that's going to work. How do you iron that? Because I'm not going to say there's creative differences, but there's always going to be a push and pull, isn't there? So how do you work out the compromise? How does the whole collaboration process work? I hope that makes sense.
As mostly films I produced was the 1995 film competition, and we have many persons to make the film, and we have like the 48-hour competition you have from the special
Rules,
rules,
to follow.
yeah.
Oh, so you are hamstrung a little bit.
Yeah, so we're basically both thrown into this project, and they give us the genre. Like today we're showing Rewinder, which is science fiction. I never thought in my whole life
Time travel.
I'd be making a science fiction or time travel. Was it time travel? Yeah. Okay, time travel was the genre, so that was given to us. And yeah, I'm not a real sci-fi hardcore fan or anything, so that was challenging for me. But we had writers who came up with a story. So basically, we don't have time to disagree because we only have limited time.
You knew what it had to be.
We're just trying to make the best film we can. with the resources we have and the time limit that we have.
What's the worst thing about being a filmmaker? I know we could construct the nice things.
That's a good question, actually. That's nice. You know, for me as a director, the worst thing about being a director is not being able to judge your work objectively. Because as a filmmaker, you're making films for other people to see and enjoy. And I can't be objective. I know what I like and I know what works for me, but I know the film, you know, so deeply and intensely. And I have to try to think, what does a person coming in for the first time watching this movie, what will they get out of it? It's really hard. I've done test screenings where people give me their feedback and I come out more confused because, you know, some people say, oh, this part's too short, this part's too long. I like that part, but I didn't like, no, that part was good. And then, you know, you have all this input in your head and you're trying to appeal to the masses, obviously, but you want to stay true to your artistic vision. So yeah, I think that final output, like saying it's done, that's hard for me. There's that saying, no piece of art is ever finished, it's only abandoned. I don't know who said that, but
probably Kubrick or something like that.
Could be, yeah, or Picasso or something, yeah. Anyway, so that's the hardest part for me, just knowing when it's done, because you can always make it a little better. You can always, you know, you could edit one film for 20 years if you want, you know. That's why they have the director's cuts, you know, come out 5-10 years later. But yeah, making a decision, okay, it is done with all its flaws, with all its imperfections, but there it is, yeah. So
and
that's really hard for me.
And sort of on that theme, I mean, I don't know, do you edit your own films, or is that?
I try not to, no.
Yeah,
I would prefer not editing.
Yeah,
because I like fresh eyes on it and fresh input, and you know, hey, have you thought about that? Oh my God, you know, I love working with editors. I love getting their input. Obviously, I have the ultimate decision, saying yes, we'll go this way, or yes, we'll go that way. But I love having ideas. Which, wow, did you think about putting the end scene at the beginning? And it's a completely different film. I mean, I don't have a problem like looking at a script and in my head it's like this, and then someone else saying, have you thought of that? Which makes it better. You know, I'm not one of those directors that says, it's my way, you do what I say, you know. Well, I don't have any money, so I'm not at that, you know.
But it must, even so, it must be difficult to look at, perhaps you're standing behind an editor, I'm sure you are standing behind the editor, and he's got, I don't know, Premiere Pro, whatever software he's using, and you filmed this scene, it's an example, and you love that scene, he's gone, no, it's just not working, let's cut that. And then suddenly, and this has got to have happened, because it must happen at some point in every filmmaker, you're on that cusp, and you've got to either go with him, which is going to be painful for you, and trusting he's ultimately made the right decision, or you say, no, we're going to go this way. So I suppose what I'm trying to get at is, how difficult is it to let the reins go?
I don't know if you ever really let the reins go, you know, because it's the film that you set out to make, but I think it's important just to be open to all input and to consider it. I don't necessarily have a problem with killing my darlings, you know. I'm happy to slice out a scene even if I work so hard, but if it doesn't work with the whole film, I'm not precious about those things. I just want to make the best film possible, and yeah, so if an editor says, I think it should go out and I believe it should stay in, I mean, I'm interested in test screening as well, showing it to friends and family or just complete strangers. In Berlin, they have a lot of open screenings where you can show it in a movie theater and get people's feedback, and, you know, total strangers. Yeah. Because friends and family, that's always a little biased, obviously. But yeah. So I'm interested in hearing about that. You know, what did you, if, like you mentioned a particular scene, you know, and then I would ask them after, what did you think about that scene? Do we need the scene? Did it give you anything? Did it help the story progress, or did it just seem like wasted time? And if I get a majority that say, yeah, it's a waste of time, I'm happy to throw it out.
And how does it work? I know we talked for a short time about the collaboration process, and I guess what I was getting at was more to do with the writing than the actual film creation itself, and which I know is a whole different kettle of fish. But how does, actually getting back to that example, you were talking about the 48-hour turnaround, that's probably a little bit more interesting, because you're time pressure and you've got to do it in a particular time. You know, there's no ifs and buts. And who decides? I know you've got roles, as it were, and you might be the director. whatever that is. But even so, you've still got to sit down, scratch your heads and go, right, shit, we know what the theme is, we know what we're going to do, we've got to come up with a story very quickly. I'd be interested to know how you go through that whole process. I mean, you weren't used to doing something like that, I guess. You were thrown into the lion's den and suddenly you've got to work in a very particular way.
I've done it 3 times now, and I think you've done it 5.
Oh, right, okay.
Five times.
5 times,
yeah.
yeah. So, but yeah, it's never easy because, I mean, we try to prepare as much as possible by getting the crew together before, obviously, and the actors together, even though we don't know exactly. Like for Courage, I basically wrote that story based on the actor we had. If we would have chosen another actor, it might have been a completely different story. The theme was, what was it? What I've always wanted to do with my life or something, right? So we thought, oh, there'll be a lot of stories about old people in bed looking back and regretting the decisions they made, or I don't know. So we decided just to like tone it down and make it simpler. Like, I always just wanted to talk to a girl, like just.
Yeah, because that really ultimately is this, in that film, there's just 2 people at a bar, isn't there?
Yeah.
To keep it simple, I mean, you have a man and a woman and he's trying to hit on the women.
Right.
I know there's perhaps other people seem to me, but it's ultimately about 2 people, isn't it? Each
It's
time.
about connecting, 2 people connecting or not connecting, and there's several other actors as well, but it's a very simple story. Someone mentioned another film festival. They said, did you read the notes that we got from Southern Shorts Awards?
No.
Because it's very rare that a festival sends you notes, like judges' notes,
Right, okay.
So you submit to
I'm
going to
make a note of that, actually.
You should.
I think
It's,
I
it's,
got my pen.
it's a great thing. I know DC Shorts does it, that they send you the judges' notes. Anyway, it's great.
We have the feedback from the jury from the festival, was the acting, directing, the writing, and this is good feedback.
Yeah, it's great because you send it to so many festivals and they either say yes or no, and then that's it. So yeah, it's really nice. Even if you don't make it, some festivals send you. Although I got feedback from DC Shorts, and both comments from the judges were positive. So. And then I think, okay, well, my film didn't get accepted, so then I want to say, oh, well, why? If
Oh, that's a bit odd, isn't it?
You just got to let that go.
Yeah.
I mean, and even for this festival, there's, I don't know how you guys do it. If you have like a scorecard or whatever, a 1 to 10 thing, or 10 for directing, obviously.
Yeah.
For me, but
Actually, look, you said something really interesting at the beginning, which another filmmaker mentioned to me a couple of days ago, and I just thought, that's a really interesting way of doing filmmaking, which was, I think you said something along the lines of, one day you'd like to pay someone to make your film on your behalf. And this filmmaker that I spoke to, and I actually said, well, can you elaborate what you mean by that? Because I always imagine with most filmmakers, you'll bring a crew in of your own, you'll pay them, and however you make the film. You might be, say, 10 people you work with closely, always going to be the same core group. And this filmmaker said, no, what you do is go to a production company in LA, for instance, tell them what your film's about, they'll and ah and go backwards and forwards, and eventually they'll say, okay, it's going to cost X amount of money, give us the money and we'll make it for you. So basically they take over and run the whole gig.
mm-hmm.
Now I'm guessing that's what you're talking about, and if it is, the sort of problem I had with that, or the question I had with that is, but how do you know they're going to make the film that you actually want? Because ultimately, I know you're going to be there and I'm sure watching over. And the woman said to me, that's a really interesting question, because she had gone through all these hoops, she'd agreed the figure, and then all of a sudden, lo and behold, a couple of days later, they're saying, yeah, but actually we think you should cut this and add this, that and the other. And the film that she wanted, they weren't going to make. And in fact, it's a long story, but eventually the production team that made it wanted their names removed from the credits. And it's all fine, it's all hunky-dory, and it's all good. But I suppose the question I'm trying to get to is, I can see why you'd want to do that, but do the negatives potentially outweigh the positives? Because it sounds to me like there's a load of grief, really.
I've never done that.
But
So
I didn't
have
even
no
know it
idea.
existed, but I guess...
Yeah, I don't know. I've always been, I've never had that opportunity, but I'd like to go down that road. I know there's going to be, I've always worked as an independent. I've always been a producer on my films and worked with people like Ollie. And we worked it together. He did most of the organizing and the budgeting and all that. but yeah, I don't know. I know as soon as
I'm assuming that's what you were driving at, or perhaps I've got the wrong idea.
yeah, no, I've never approached a production company with a script and said, "Can you shoot this or can you produce it?" I guess.
Oh, so sorry. What I mean is that kind of thing? Is that what you want to ultimately do? I guess was.
Yeah, I guess I'd love to, have a production company, Focus Features or whatever, involved, and send them my script, and they read the script. They say it's great. We'll put together a crew, and yeah, they're going to be on my back, and they're going to say, take that out and take that. I know that going in, unless Martin Scorsese, even he has problems, getting Final Cut. So yeah, I know that, but I've never experienced it. I'm sort of looking forward to it and sort of not looking forward to it, because I know with the pros there's going to be a lot of cons. As soon as you have money in the game, I mean, all of the films we produce were not for a lot of money. We probably spend more money submitting to festivals, right, than the whole budget. I don't know. So yeah, we keep everything on a low budget, and the camera people we work with have their own cameras and ask friends for lights, and so yes. But to answer your question, ultimately, when I grow up, I would like to be a feature film director, have a producer produce it, have a production company.
I asked it really badly, didn't I? You know what I mean?
No, you didn't at all. No, it was right on the money. No, I'm fine. Yeah, that is my goal, but I haven't experienced it yet. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I would love for someone else. I mean, Ollie is in charge of the film festival submissions, and he's done a great job, and he's got us here today, and a bunch of other festivals, and we won some awards, and so yeah, that's a whole other process. Just the film festival submissions, I mean, it's like a full-time job. You have to like research each festival and see what's the time limit, what's the premiere status, how old,
have to go there.
Yeah.
So do you have sleepless nights?
Ollie did last night.
Because I imagine all film. I often ask this question because it must be. I know it's very pressurised, not just making the film, everything post or pre, and the marketing, and so I'm guessing. I mean, are you the kind of people that are affected by this? Because I'm honest and open and say I couldn't be a filmmaker because I'd be too stressed to do it. You see, so how do you deal with that? Because it is stressful. Let's be honest, it's a very stressful thing, isn't it? It can be.
It is, yeah. I mean, like I said, we don't have a lot of money in play, so even if we totally screw it up, it's not like we mortgaged a house or anything. It's.
And I know plenty of filmmakers have done that.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, and
really
yeah. So it's stressful, and just the amount of hours you work and trying to keep everyone motivated, as far as to keep things going, because it's hard. Like with these 48-hour film festivals or 99 hours, you have a certain amount of time. But both films that are screening here, we have gone back and re-edited, did the sound design new, did the color correction. So the films you're seeing at this festival have been, they're longer, they're shorter, and we cut stuff out, and we had time then to look at it and try to make it the best film we can with the footage we had.
Right.
But it's hard to like keep the momentum going, because there's no deadline really. After you've done it and shown it that original time, there's no deadline. So that's hard to keep the motivation going. And you mentioned also what are the hard things about directing, and I mentioned finally saying it's done, but also on the set, like keeping that, I'm not a person who screams or whatever, I don't think that helps anything. I'm a pretty chilled guy. But yeah, you get tired, and you have to remember people looking to you, and it's the same thing with a producer, you can't go on the set and say, hey guys, what's going on? All right, we gotta do this scene today, and all right, put a light there. I don't know, whatever. I'm getting coffee. You gotta.
Well, that's exactly.
Be a showman and stuff.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah,
guys,
yeah,
let's go.
yeah,
Here we go. Let's do this. We're here for a reason. We're here,
We try the best.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what I was talking about earlier when I was doing all those interviews. It's identical. I'm exhausted by the end, and that's the reason I don't do so many, because that's exactly what's happening to me. Yeah. And if you're looking at me and thinking, hang on, this guy's really not enthused, he's not really interested.
I got to wake you up during the question.
You're not going to get anywhere, are you? And I'm sure when you're on set and because people are looking at you, like, the director's like, is he falling asleep? Or where's his get up and go? And it must, and I know it affects people.
That's hard, but sleepless nights, I probably had a few, but not that many. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you have to stop. You can't work 24 hours a day. It's just, it'll drive you crazy. and drive everyone around you crazy. And yeah, 10, 12 hours. It's good. A couple hours sleep.
Guys, that's it.
All right.
Fantastic.
Great.